I love this microphone will never stay put either.
Now, Chris Duel.
Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah. The football gods on high, led by, in my opinion, lead football god Thomas Wade Landry, last night bestowed blessings upon us, delivered gifts from heaven in the form of Hard Knocks. And I noticed they used to call it, by the way, Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. And I noticed this last night, Shannon, on Hard Knocks. And I mean, I kind of halfway noticed it before, but it used to be called like Hard Knocks Training Camp with the Oakland Raiders. That was just the way, or whoever it was. Hard Knocks Training Camp with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now the official title is just Hard Knocks Dallas Cowboys. It's like, all right, the thing you're selling is Dallas Cowboys. We don't need extra words. It's Hard Knocks Dallas Cowboys. I noticed that it finally locked into my brain last night.
That is interesting because I recall them referring to the show as that. I don't know why they dropped that, whether they realized how much of a mouthful it is.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other show that's called Hard Knocks on air right now. So why have all the extra words? And you're right. When you put Dallas Cowboys next to anything, people will watch.
Yes. And again, it's an economy of words. Less is more, and we get it. Hard Knocks, Dallas Cowboys. Now, last night, Shannon, all day leading into night, I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to do what Shannon does. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to get a good night's sleep because the more I sleep, the more I have rest, the better rested I am. Then in the next morning, my brain works a little bit better, and that's better for the show. So it's the responsible thing to do. I'm going to go to bed early, on time, and then when I wake up, I can watch Hard Knocks replay, and I will have watched it before the show begins. And of course, it's like 8 o'clock. I go, well, I'm still awake. 8:30. Well, I'm still awake. 5 till 9. Well, it's almost 9. I may as well watch Hard Knocks, which I did. So I'm assuming, Shannon, that once again you took the responsible route.
I mean, if you're gonna watch it, and if you're up already, then why be up and not watch it and then have to then get up early anyway? So yeah, I did the same thing as last time. It makes it a little easier to get up on Wednesday mornings. I'll admit that.
So true. So true.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the Ben DiNucci love we received.
My God.
For a guy who I think most of us are expecting to not be on the roster.
Yeah.
Didn't know Mike McCarthy was such a fan.
Yeah, he's a fan. And DiNucci. Yeah, that's what McCarthy calls him, DiNucci.
Got a problem on our hands. Guy's better at chess than he is at football.
Well, to a certain extent, and I wonder, they did portray Ben DiNucci very well, and he had a lot of screen time in the episode last night, including a chess match with Micah Parsons. But I do know, and NFL Films has done this forever. A Super Bowl could be a blowout, and then you see the NFL Films version of that Super Bowl, and it seems like it was a lot. The losing team is portrayed a lot better than just getting annihilated, which was usually the case. So I mean, I'm not sure. It's either that or, after I watched Ben DiNucci's abysmal performance in the Hall of Fame game, maybe. We're not seeing him at practice, and maybe he's better at practice. And he did have a touchdown pass and a really nice game leading, could have been a game winning drive against the Arizona Cardinals. So, and again, I'm open. Sometimes I'm wrong. Maybe it's time for me to start rethinking DiNucci.
They showed him in the film room, and he was going over some film with the quarterback's coach, and he's pointing stuff out from that Hall of Fame debut game, and he's like, your eyes do not need to be there. Why are you? And DiNucci's just staring blankly, like he doesn't even have an answer. And I don't know if that's just how he receives and takes in information, and hopefully then he converts that on the field. But he just looked like a deer in the headlights.
Which in that opening game against Pittsburgh, that was my feeling about Ben DiNucci. He looked, and when you're a rookie free agent, and even when you're a rookie quarterback, okay, I get it. It's probably the hardest position in all of sports to play. Quarterback, first of all, anywhere. Secondly, quarterback in the National Football League, where everything is like 10 times faster than it was for you in college. All right, I get that. But you've been in this Dallas Cowboys system for a year now. You were a relatively high draft pick for a quarterback, so they clearly believed in you. You need to be better. And little things, Shannon, like look where your eyes are. Your eyes should be here, or you need to look off that receiver before you come back. I mean, these are little basic things that I'm not a quarterback. I'm just a football fan, and I know these things. Yeah. So in addition to all of your prep and all of your experience and all of your athletic ability, because let's be honest, if you get to the National Football League, you're a darn good athlete one way or another. And we'll talk about Tim Tebow along those lines in a bit. But, Ben DiNucci, you're responsible for a lot of progress from year one to year two. And I'm not seeing it yet, although I will agree with you. There was a lot of DiNucci love on Hard Knocks episode 2.
Yeah, McCarthy calling his throws unique. When I hear that, I think dangerous. I think risky. I think turnovers. You have not proven to be a Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers who gets the benefit of the doubt to throw those, quote, unique throws. Make the passes you should make first. And I haven't seen that out of him yet in live game action. I don't care what you do in practice.
Yeah. And the little chess match, they show a little scene where, they're away from practice. I guess they're back at the condos in Oxnard, and Ben DiNucci is playing chess with Micah Parsons. It's a clever, fun, interesting scene. But DiNucci, and I guess he's just having fun, but talking a little trash to Micah Parsons. It's things like, well, quarterbacks just know a little more. Quarterbacks are just, a little more savvy. It's like, dude, I wouldn't be saying this A to Micah Parsons or B to anybody.
I'm always a step ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess you know that you're probably not going to make the team then.
Oh, God.
You're a step ahead. You might as well start packing your bags, sir.
Well, see, and maybe that's what Hard Knocks is doing to us. Maybe they feel, or they got the tip off early in training camp that's like almost certainly DiNucci's not going to make this team. So let's portray him in episode 2 and in some early episodes. Let's get the audience to like him so that when we have the cameras on him in episode 5, when he's cut, then they'll be crushed and there'll be some big time drama. That's the plan. I don't know.
I agree. I mean, episode 1 was so much about Dak and Jerry and the Cowboys in general that we finally got like the Hard Knocks. Okay, we've got the personalities that we're going to focus on and guys that we're going to become invested in throughout this series and hope that they do well in the season. And, DiNucci was one of them. We got a little bit more CeeDee Lamb. He's obviously performing very well in camp. I think he's turned a lot of heads. Right. I mean, everyone knew he was going to be a great receiver, but now he's showing signs of a legendary receiver in years to come. And then we also get Aiden. Is it Dirty? How do you say his last name?
I think Dirty. D-U-R-D-E. I think Dirty.
I love this guy. He's from London originally. He's been with the Cowboys before in 2014 and then was with Dan Quinn in Atlanta. Now is back with Dan Quinn coaching the defensive line. And we've got, first of all, last week we have the salt with Jerry Jones, and now we know that Jerry Jones can't do an accent to save his life. Because you look at Aiden, and he looks like he's from Arkansas, and then he says, but he opens his mouth and he talks like Churchill, and then Jerry does the worst Churchill impression. I mean, just say the words. Don't even try to do the British accent. But it's great, and it is unique, right? In that he's coaching, and they're in the film room and the guys are like using his accent. They don't even realize they're using his accent. They're just to him talking. So I liked that too. We don't often get those kind of highlights in Hard Knocks, I feel like, with coaches, and especially coaches that aren't, your OC, your head coach, or your DC. So to see him get highlighted and tell his story, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, another cool story from Hard Knocks that I enjoyed. a defensive end who was on the practice squad last year. He's a little undersized for a defensive end. Azur Kamara, who's originally from the Ivory Coast. I mean, you talked about Aiden Durde, the defensive line coach from London. Now here's the guy from the Ivory Coast, and it's, again, a culture clash. And he talked about, and there were photos of him when he was a kid, and he came to the States and didn't even speak the language. He went to Kansas, was a Big 12 guy, went to Kansas. An undrafted free agent a year ago, made the practice squad, which is amazing. And he had a big game against the Arizona Cardinals. It was cool. His mom and his family were there to see him play for the first time. That's one of the things I love about Hard Knocks. You live some of these human stories with some players you might not otherwise know that much about. And it helps you. Here's a guy trying to make the team, and he might not make like DiNucci. He might not make the team this year, and you wind up pulling for him.
Yeah. And he's trying so hard to make the team that he got in trouble a little bit there, coming after the quarterback practice. Sir, they wear the red jerseys for a reason.
Yeah.
You don't touch the quarterback. That
was interesting because you saw Mike McCarthy then go over to the defensive line coach we were talking about, Aiden Durde, saying, hey, that ain't cool. That's Kamara. And he had to go over to Kamara and tell him, can't touch the quarterback. So lots to talk about. We'll get back into Hard Knocks. If you want to react to anything in sports today, including Hard Knocks, the big Tim Tebow news broke yesterday late in our show that he was cut yesterday by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Interestingly, another name that you probably know cut yesterday, the chosen one, Josh Rosen, de-chosen by the San Francisco 49ers. We'll get into that. But Shannon, the Tim Tebow cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars trending all over social media yesterday. And credit to you. It's a great poll question. Today's poll question involves the future of Tim Tebow. Yeah,
well, we know that before he came back to the NFL, he was running around with the Mets organization, trying to make his way to the major leagues. And, he is an athlete. I mean, there's no question about it. So I think the only logical question now that he is back out of the NFL is, what sport will Tim Tebow play next? So we've got basketball, gymnastics, soccer, and then go ahead and send us your other thoughts and ideas, maybe even what teams he might try out for at this point. Because it feels like the world is his oyster, and he should just go take on whatever opportunities come his way or whatever opportunities he can make for himself.
You had a great idea, a legitimately great idea. We were talking before the show about, realistically, in all seriousness, what Tim Tebow should do next. Mm-hmm. Do you care to share that with the class?
I've already forgotten.
Oh, you've already. Fantastic! No, this is great. All right, I was going to let you said he should now do a reality show.
Oh, yeah.
Where he goes and he tries out and plays with different teams. And two things occurred to me, and one of them I mentioned to you, and another one just popped into my head. Number one, back in the Bo Jackson days, when Bo Jackson was playing for the Oakland Raiders football and Kansas City Royals, I believe, baseball, Nike. He was a Nike guy, so they had these Bo knows commercials, and it was like Bo knows football, Bo knows baseball, and then in the Nike commercials he'd try other things. Bo knows basketball, Bo knows gymnastics, and it was funny, and it was a joke, and it was entertaining, and it was amusing. And then another thing just popped into my head. In the 70s, there was a writer, a really good sports writer named George Plimpton, and one of the things George Plimpton wanted to do, he wanted to write about how hard it was to play quarterback in the National Football League. So he went to the Detroit Lions as a writer. And in training camp, he said to the Lions, I'm writing an extended piece for like Esquire magazine or something on what it's like to play quarterback in the NFL. Can I voluntarily come through your training camp as a quarterback with the rest of your quarterbacks and learn? And can I get into a game at quarterback? There's a guy who never played college football, never played high school football, never played. The Lions agreed to it. They put him into the game for 4 plays in preseason. I believe he got annihilated. They even made the book he wrote was called, I believe, Paper Lion, about the Detroit Lions and his experience. And they made it into a movie. I think Alan Alda played the part of George Plimpton, but he actually did this. So I think embrace what a lot of people are making fun of Tebow about now. I think you embrace it, you run with it, you own it. And I love, you need to like somehow get to Tebow. You need to be the producer of the show where it's a reality show and Tim Tebow tries everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yes.
Tebow tries. I was kind of thinking, a couple of years ago, Will Ferrell did that thing. I think it was the HBO show as well, that he played for, I think, 10 teams in one day and played all the different positions. It was during baseball training, so spring training time.
Yeah.
They filmed it, and you're watching it, and you're like, "This is ridiculous. Why is he doing it?" But yet, for some reason, I am just so locked in and loving every second of it. And I think Tebow's that guy where even he's kind of like the Cowboys organization, right? You love him and you love to hate him. And, because every step he makes, no matter what it is, people are going to criticize or people are going to praise. And there is no real in between, but people watch and people look at it and people pay attention. So why not do something, especially given, I was listening to Brady Quinn and Jonas Knox on the way in, and they were talking about Tim Tebow and kind of thought, well, maybe it was, a decision made by both him and the Jaguars that it just wasn't going to work out, whatever. But at the other side, okay, maybe does he go off and continue training? Is he going to try and be on another team? Does he try and do a different sport? Does he go back to baseball, or does he just call it an athletic career? So that's what got me thinking about our poll question today. So make sure y'all go vote and feel free to give. I thought rugby maybe would be a good, just with his body type and the football background.
Yes.
Send him to Australia and put him on a rugby team for a couple months.
Man.
That would be fun.
Because the way he played quarterback in college, I mean, it was kind of like rugby.
And the way he was running, trying to get through the trenches a couple on that first preseason game. Kind of looked like he was maybe a rugby player.
Wow. You got to wonder now when Urban Meyer goes out in the morning to get the newspaper from his front lawn and he looks over and sees his next door neighbor, Tim Tebow. You got to wonder if that's a little awkward now.
Yeah, and he's in his robe and not dressed for work anymore.
Yeah, has a cup of coffee, getting his newspaper. All right, you want to jump in throughout the show. Phone lines are always open to you. We enjoy getting your phone calls in the morning, 800-707-9760. We are streaming. We got a video feed. You not only participate with us in real time, but a whole bunch of other really cool people that are already there. You can get there through Facebook, AM 1300 The Zone, or Ticket 760's Facebook page. There's a YouTube portal into that video. There's a Twitch portal into that video. We'd love to see you on the live stream. Bill Schoening, the voice of the Spurs, who is our basketball correspondent. There was big NBA news yesterday. We heard about some opening night matchups in the NBA on October 19th, and we got the full Christmas Day slate. Some big games coming up on Christmas Day, and we have a champion in the Summer League. We'll let you know who that is. Talk about it all with Bill Schoening just after 8 o'clock. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist, we'll talk to him coming up in the next segment as well, along with your high five play of the day. We'll hand out a high five, as we should, a little bit later in the 7 o'clock hour. Shannon's Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays, and more. Lots to cover. You made it to the midpoint of the week. It's halftime for your work week. Enjoy. It's the Chris Duel Show. Luisa Alanis. Good morning. Dave Emilio. There you go. You watched the Elvis 68 comeback special. I loved it. Tracy Bogert joining us. Welcome, Tracy. He is the president of the Bexar County MAGA Republicans, coronavirus deniers, and Joe Biden blamers on everything that went wrong in Afghanistan. Welcome in. David Valles, welcome. Steve Duraco, the original Rock. Welcome, Steve Duraco. Ralph Balderas, Anthony Del Toro, Hector Gomez, Sam Tobias, Wes Perkins, Foamfoot 420. Welcome in. Oh, and I forgot, Flat Earther. Neil deGrasse Tyson had a great tweet yesterday. He goes, little memo to all of you anti-science, anti-vaxxers, anti-mask, flat earthers. And he used the term flat earthers. He said, do you know that the technology you're using to spread these conspiracy theories and these false claims was actually created by the very science that you deny. Kind of funny. Go search Neil deGrasse Tyson's Twitter page if you want to get a better idea on that. All right. Yo necesito café. I believe that's an accurate Spanish sentence right there. Yo necesito café. Don't forget our special Dieciséis Especial, where we do the entire show in Espanol. Very excited about that. Hope to have Manu Ginobili on that show, and we will interview him entirely in Espanol. I'm working on my Spanish. Thank you, Ralph Balderas. I'm working on it. Someday I will be bilingual. Yes. As we all should be, gosh darn it. Foamfoot 420. What I learned from Hard Knocks last night is that Zeke uses a lot of foul language. Yeah, a lot of them do. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah. I saw Paul retweet that. I saw that yesterday. Was it the one all of the TV news people on a yeah. Very cool. Are you friends with Paul on Facebook? Oh, you got to friend him. He's a great. I'll private message both of you, and he's very entertaining. And he's and as you know, he's a good guy. Yeah, I think that was early 80s. You may need to on Friday bring that up to him. Let's see here. So yeah, yesterday, and again, I don't want to whine. I don't want to be that guy. But so yesterday's my birthday, and I thought, okay, it's August 17th. Wouldn't it be nice? And if Steve Duraco is in here, he can relate because he hangs out with me at the pool sometimes. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice to go to the pool, chill out, beautiful day, sunshine. August is kind of fleeting, so let's enjoy it while we can. And so I stay with my mom. I'm kind of like during the week, I'm kind of my mom's. She'll be 98 on August 25th. I'm her caregiver, and my sister does it on the weekend. So we flip. So the condo where she lives, we get a notice. Oh, the pool is closed. We're refinishing the deck. It'll be closed for the next few days. What kind of, you're going to close the pool to refinish the deck in August? You didn't think about doing this in March or in January or in any month other than June, July, or August? Yes, I know. First world problems. And I don't want to be a whiner. It ain't cool. I get it. But I was looking, I was like, all right, I'm going to just relax. Maybe have an adult beverage or 6. So, somebody was talking about. All right, there you go. On YouTube, you're telling me they did it when the kids went back to school. Okay, there is that. But how about adults? Because Steve even said to me, he goes, hey, the kids are going back to school. And I thought, oh, my God, we're going to have the pool all to ourselves now. That's great. Not that I don't like kids, but I don't like kids. When your brain goes numb, you freeze. When these people talk too much, I feel like an ocean. Down in the deep. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's the kind of music we play on this show. Shannon, what are we listening to?
Chris, it's football season, which means we got to bring the football tunes, all the things that the players are listening to, and you watch Hard Knocks. I'm sure. Why didn't you recognize that awesome beat? This was a feature song in last night's episode during one of the practice montages. That is Astronaut, a current hit with Masked Wolf. Masked Wolf, yes, Astronaut. I was about to say it did sound familiar from last night. And I believe President Obama, he's really good about like still connecting with people. He puts out, his brackets every year and talks a lot of sports, and he always releases like a summer playlist. And I believe this was one of the songs on it this year. Nice. There was, and again, there was some cool music throughout Hard Knocks, and the music kind of had some salty language,
which
Yeah,
I'm sure
we just played the iHeartRadio friendly version.
So there is another
So it is
Not
in our
So Radio.
system. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, our good friend on YouTube, 420, says what I learned from Hard Knocks last night is that Zeke uses a lot of foul language. Well, they all even like the very beginning. Yeah, the very beginning of the show, a Hard Knocks last night is a pregame Mike McCarthy addressing the team.
Mm-hmm.
And again, every sentence seemingly is punctuated by an F-bomb. See, I'm not anti-F-bomb. You know, we played Greg Popovich yesterday, who used it after Team USA won the gold medal in Tokyo. He used it effectively. He used it once. I think if you use the F word after every sentence, or if in one speech you use it 9 times, I think it loses its effectiveness. And I know we got the high five play of the day coming up, but the more I watch Mike McCarthy, Shannon, he just, I flash back to Jimmy Johnson last night. I'm like, man, Jimmy Johnson had gravitas. Jimmy Johnson, scared players and also made them want to run through a wall. And when they had that scrimmage against the Rams in Oxnard, and you saw Sean McVay run onto the field, head coach of the Rams, I mean, granted, he's a young guy and he's like a smaller guy, but he's got it factor. Even it's like I got excited seeing him on my team. It's like, whoa, Sean McVay, that dude's cool. That dude's good. Whereas Mike McCarthy,
Yeah.
I am not feeling Mike McCarthy as a leader of a football team or a motivator. And I know he's got a Super Bowl ring with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but I'm not just oozing with confidence for what he can do for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, his style seems very generational. You mentioned the cursing. I think there was a period where, there's a lot of people that was the effective way to talk to some people who just didn't get it, right? Like, that is how I put my exclamation point on everything. And then it just becomes natural and part of their everyday language. So they just almost can't help themselves, and they forget where to put it in and where it almost becomes too much. Because I'm on the social medias and it just seems like some of these words that, at least in America, we're like, oh, don't say that, or why is a 13-year-old saying that? That's just part of their, like, kids today. I feel like that there is no bleeping. Like, they know all of the words and they use them all of the time. So I don't know that that's as effective with these younger guys like your Zekes and your CeeDee Lambs, that they just, when they hear those words, there's no more shock and awe to it.
Good point. Before we go to the high five play of the day, I said I would introduce, and we should have done it sooner, but I got all excited talking Hard Knocks. Dave Ayler is your soundscape stylist. Dave Ayler on a plain shirt Wednesday. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to get my money back for that Tebow jersey I bought. The assurance money isn't coming through.
Yeah.
See, I think it would be cool to have, what was it, number 85? Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have a Jacksonville Jaguars number 85 Tebow jersey. It's a piece of football history.
I would think that'd become a collector's item now.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot might get one.
A lot of people are upset, though, that Fanatics, this was trending yesterday, that a lot of people were looking to use that assurance policy that is apparently only if your player that you bought a jersey for gets traded, they will then give you the new jersey with the new team. If your player gets cut, it does not cover, you are stuck with that jersey that you ordered and maybe wore all of one time. But I agree. I think there, especially if Tebow does end up, continuing to maintain a kind of a celebrity profile, that could be worth something to someone someday.
Meet him sometime, get it signed, because it's not like he has anything else to do now. So he'll be at all the autograph shows now.
He'll be making the rounds.
I got one more Tebow idea for you, then high five play of the day, Shannon. And you may appreciate this, Dave, as a baseball fan. So the Field of Dreams game, right? Every year, Field of Dreams. So we just had one. We know next year it's going to be what? The Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs. I think the year after that, have it be the New York Mets. And Tim Tebow's dream was to play Major League Baseball. So like in the 5th inning, all of a sudden, it's like the Mets are up to bat. You play the Field of Dreams music, and walking out of the cornfield and all the way to the batter's box, Tim Tebow. He gets his one at bat with the New York Mets on the Field of Dreams. Come on, Shannon. Come on, Dave. I love it. Let's do it.
It'd be an easy strikeout.
Well, but Maybe not.
I think that's a waste of a lot of people's time, energy, and money.
People
When
would
he could
love
just fly
it.
out there himself and do the video on his own.
People would love it. And
Injuries us in Mets gear.
And Dave, you're assuming he's going to strike out. But let us not forget, the Lord looks kindly upon Tim Tebow. There could be a field of dreams miracle.
Well, and he was a decent hitter in AAA. I'll give him that.
All right.
He did hit, I don't know, like 250 or something, which
I
isn't too
was
bad.
supposed to go see Tim Tebow, and the day we were there, they were like, "No, he's not playing."
Well, you know,
Damn it, Tebow! That's why you're here. That's why you're on the team.
even God rested on the seventh day.
Just to be seen. You don't need to do anything. Just want to see you.
That might have flipped you. If he would have played that game, you might have gone, man, I need to rethink this Tim Tebow guy. I love this guy. Maybe.
I cursed Tim Tebow that day.
Maybe not. All right. You cursed. That's almost as bad as cursing the Lord. You take Tim Tebow's name in vain. That it's not as bad, but it's still on the hierarchy of sins somewhere, I think.
Sorry.
So that's why, all of you Tim Tebow haters, you may enjoy your little Twitter party right now, but come Judgment Day, we're gonna do some math. We're gonna do some post-life review, and you're gonna be have a finger wagged at you. I think, at least that's my theory. So I rarely say anything anti-Tebow, just to hedge my bets. Okay, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We love it. You love it. And it's appropriate. It's time for a high five. We call it the High Five Play of the Day, which is appropriately sponsored by High Five. 2 magnificent locations in the Austin area with so much going on at each High Five location. Great food, great drinks, food specials, drink specials, big screen TVs everywhere, all kinds of games you can play, even bowling. Are you kidding me? Laser tag, axe throwing. If you see an axe fly by, Shannon Salty Sweeney may be the one throwing it. She's been seen there doing that. High Five, 2 locations in Austin. Shannon, who deserves a high five this morning?
Well, don't forget all night happy hour on Wednesdays. So a great day to go spend at High Five. All right. We're going to give it to a former Longhorn. He is a one and done. He just left here. He was drafted in the 2nd round to the Portland Trail Blazers, and Summer League has come to an end, but that doesn't mean he didn't make a splash, because Greg Brown III had an incredible between the legs dunk last night. It was on the run. It caught the attention of one Mr. LeBron James, who felt like he needed to pull out his phone and tweet and say, "Greg Brown III, my goodness." On the break, though, sheesh, which we all know is a popular term with the kids. I love that he's finally really shining. I mean, he was, the NIL rule did not exist. And before he decided whether or not he was going to go to school, it was, do I go to the G League and get paid to play? And he chose to come to Texas and play for Shaka Smart. And the big argument for Shaka Smart was he was not developing players. And I think we saw that again with Greg Brown. He wasn't the superstar. He didn't become that first round draft pick. Obviously, he went second to the Trailblazers, but I think with the kind of restructuring going on with the Trailblazers and what he looks like, it looks like if they put him in the right position, he can really make an impact for this team in the near future. And that play last night was spectacular. His name was getting out there. We've also seen Jericho Sims, rookie this year, make some highlights in Summer League. So it's been a great summer for the Longhorns. I'm looking forward to watching them play in the regular season, Chris.
Greg Brown III, I just pulled up his Wikipedia. Lots of reasons to love him. Not only a Longhorn, but born in Dallas, Texas. So he is a Texan. Went to high school in Austin, Vandergrift High School in Austin. So he's got Texan written all over him, and he's got great hair. So yes. I love the hair.
Yes, hair is important.
Woo! Yeah. Important. So, and he's got a birthday coming up. He will turn 20 on September 1st. He was born on September 1st, 2001. So, Shannon, you may want to send him a birthday gift coming up in less than a month.
I'll have to see what I can do. I don't know what you get a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially a 20-year-old who makes NBA money now. He signed a 3-year deal.
Get him a rare Tim Tebow jersey.
He's doing all right. Yeah.
But I mean, think about that, though.
He probably wasn't even watching TV when Tim Tebow was playing in college.
Has no idea who
highlights.
Yeah. But think about this. You're 19, almost 20. To have LeBron James, the king, tweet you out. I mean, that's in an earlier era, that would be like Kobe doing that when you're a brand new player in the league, or go even further back. Not that he had Twitter, but if it's like Michael Jordan going, "Hey kid, yeah, this is amazing. Let me tweet this highlight out." That's cool. I mean, forget birthday gift. That's a very early birthday gift for Greg Brown III. That is way cool.
The only thing is that he didn't tag him. He didn't use his at.
You gotta tag him.
At GB3 Elite.
Yeah.
He just, but he did call him out by his full name, I guess. I think a lot of people forget that he's the third. Greg Brown the third.
Very cool. Well, I'm sure, he should have tagged him, but I'm sure it has gotten back to him by now. I mean, we're talking about it.
I mean, don't want to take too much away from it being about LeBron. So
now, wait a minute. So LeBron does a nice gesture for somebody else, and you're saying it's all about LeBron? Wait, come on. Be nice to LeBron.
Yes. I can't with LeBron. But there's your high five of the day to Mr. Greg Brown, former Longhorn, doing big things in the NBA Summer League. Speaking
of Summer League, we have a new Summer League champion. The championship game, the Sacramento Kings are your. They
won something.
I know. We laugh. Well, it's funny. We laugh. And just to give you the final score, wow, they destroyed the Boston Celtics 100-67 in the Summer League championship game. But see, here it's like, I go, yeah, whatever, Sacramento Kings. But then 4 or 5 years ago, when the Spurs won the Summer League and Becky Hammon was the head coach of the Spurs Summer League team, I was like, yeah, that's right. Spurs, baby. Becky Hammon, how you like us now? Summer League champ. It's like, when your team wins Summer League, and especially if it's Becky Hammon as coach, I mean, I got very excited, and now I see the Sacramento Kings win it, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. So saying, it's just the Summer League.
Isn't Buddy Hield on the Kings these days?
I know he was recently, and he's quite now. Do you dislike him because he's a Sooner? How do you feel about Buddy Hield?
I mean, he just so many great Sooners come out of college and really make a splash in the NBA, right? Blake Griffin and obviously now Trae Young, and Buddy Hield was supposed to be that guy. I don't know. Is it because he's on the Kings that we haven't heard him make much noise?
Somebody said to me, well, no, they didn't say to me. I heard this in the media. The Lakers were signing all these free agents or trying to build that team around LeBron, that apparently the Lakers had their eyes on Buddy Hield. So as much as I agree with you, he hasn't broken through yet and been a big deal. Apparently he's turning some heads in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some great stats. I mean, he became the fastest player in history to make 1,000 3-pointers just in 350 games. And he's got some really great stats and some buzzer beaters, but it's one of those, we talk about markets, and, Sacramento, obviously not a small market in terms of city size, but when you're in the same state as the Lakers and Golden State and the Clippers, I think he's being overshadowed a little bit.
Yeah, man. And Sacramento, that's one of those franchises, for a moment there in the Vlade Divac era, they challenged the Lakers a couple of times. Robert Horry with a dagger to break their hearts once in the playoffs. But Kings, it's been a tough go for the Sacramento Kings. And they had my boy Jimmer Fredette for a while, and it never worked. So there's that. I think Tebow and Jimmer Fredette together on a basketball team in China, the Shanghai Sharks. I don't know. It's an idea. Coming up, we'll talk some football. We'll talk more football. We'll talk more Hard Knocks. Lots going on in the sports world and some ugly stories in sports. We'll get to those too. Two very ugly stories, and we'll get to those as well. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler making the show go. Bill Schoening at 8 with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Jason Paniagua, Clint Proctor. Thank you, Clint. And I saw a lot of you yesterday said happy birthday, and I didn't get a chance to thank everybody individually. I aspire to, but thank you. Clint, how is your training going? I know, is it a super triathlon? You're doing something insane and courageous. Very nice, Jason Paniagua. I went to Academy when the Spurs won Summer League, and there wasn't any merch. Highly disappointed. See, and Jason, I would have bought that. You know, like what was it, 4 years ago? Maybe 5 by now. Spurs, 2016 Summer League champs. Head coach Becky, I would have bought that. And on back, you could have the names of all the Summer League players. That's right, baby. And they should get rings. There should be a Summer League ring that has like a little beach ball on it. And it's sponsored by Corona. Have a little Corona, maybe. Oh, I have to record some spots. I just remembered. I'm going to bang a couple of those out right now because it's the right thing to do. And when I do it, I will mercifully mute my mic so you don't hear me screw up on each take. Let's see. I need new. Oh, hey, Dave, I'm going to record a few spots here. I know you don't have me up, just letting you know. Thank you. So there's that. Let me do a test here. Check. 1, 2, 3. Whoever started that test 1, 2, 3. Why isn't it ABC? Why isn't it dog, cat, armadillo? I don't know. But we all do it. Why do we all do it? Let's see. Where is that information I need? There it is. Check that. Beautiful. That's even better. That's a Saturday. Okay. Gonna mute for a moment, but I'll be back. All right.
You get free beer for doing those spots?
Actually, if I lived in Austin, the distributor says, yeah, if you need some product, come on by. Theoretically, I could. I know. Can you ship some down?
They don't have a distributor here they can get it to, and you can go pick it up here.
See, that's why you think outside the box and I don't. That's a great idea.
Anytime I get free stuff, I can always
Yeah, I'm sure.
wrangle it.
I'm sure Silver Eagle Distributing in San Antonio go, oh, sure. Yeah, thanks. We'll gladly deliver this to Chris so we can drink more. All right. Now, let me do this.
A life where I would have driven an hour to get free beer.
When I
was 20, 25 years
Yeah,
old,
I-
I would have drove to Dallas to get free beer.
I still should.
But in high school, I would have drove the other side of the country for free beer.
Absolutely. You ever had, when I lived in Colorado, they had 3-2 beer. You ever had that? It's god awful.
Yeah, I have.
Tastes like half beer, half water, but it was the law back then. I don't know if it still is. So, growing up in Texas drinking beer, and it's like, what is this? Oh, it's 3-2 beer. It's what they sell in Colorado.
This
Here we go.
Chris Duel Show. Now, Chris Duel.
You made it to Wednesday. It is the midpoint of the week and all kinds of stuff going on in the world of sports. Welcome into the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. We talked a lot of hard knocks in the first hour because we should, because the Dallas Cowboys are America's team, and most of us either love or hate the Dallas Cowboys. And if you hate the Dallas Cowboys, come on. Why? Get on the love train. I know it's been tough, but we talked, and there's still a lot more we will get to regarding Hard Knocks. We got a great show. I don't even think I mentioned the George Thorogood tickets. We're giving those away all week. George Thorogood coming to the Tobin Center, and I think it's Thursday. I could be wrong, but it was later this week. We've been giving them away since Monday. And later this week, the tickets go on sale to the public. So you don't have to wait. You don't even have to pay money for the tickets. You just have to listen. We'll do it in the 8 o'clock hour. In fact, I can tell you right now, we'll probably do it about 8:25, I do believe. So there's that. Also in the 8 o'clock hour, great day to have him. And maybe Shannon can ask him, what's the deal with Buddy Hield? Is he good or is he not so good? Bill Schoening, our official basketball analyst, Olympics analyst. He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Before that, he was the voice of the Texas Longhorns. I love having Bill on. He's an Austin guy, but does his work in San Antonio. And actually, throughout a lot of the regular season, he lives in San Antonio. I do believe in a cool hotel room. I've heard that as well. Time now and then from Bill Schoening. Love having him on. We'll talk about the Summer League. We crowned a Summer League champion last night. Shannon, in the high five play of the day, told you about Greg Brown III's big play, and it was the highlight tweeted out by LeBron James. So lots of basketball to get to with Bill Schoening, and who knows, maybe we'll talk some Cowboys, some Longhorns, maybe some Tebow. Anything's possible. Later this hour, it is Shannon's Salty Shakedown, this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. You are always welcome to join us on the phone lines. Phone lines are open for you. And oh, by the way, when we give away the George Thorogood tickets, you want to know this number. It is 800-707-9760. 800-707-9760. You call that number. First voice you hear will be Soundscape stylist Dave Ayler. And Shannon, some ugly stories in the world of sports. We don't love reporting on them, but, you know, we kind of have to because they're a big deal. Did you hear about, this guy was such a stud pitcher for so many years, Jack Morris, who, let's see, he was a 5-time All-Star, a 4-time World Series champion, a World Series MVP. He was twice the wins leader in Major League Baseball as a pitcher. He was the AL strikeout leader once. He pitched a no-hitter in 84. Most of his work with the Detroit Tigers. He would later bounce to the Minnesota Twins, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Cleveland Indians. But his number 47 is retired by the Detroit Tigers. So, Shannon, last night, Jack Morris is now a TV analyst for the Detroit Tigers. Did you hear about how he stepped in it in a big way when he was on the microphone and sensation Shohei Ohtani was on the mound for the LA Angels?
I saw some headlines that he had done something. Ohtani again, like, dude is incredible. If you don't have anything nice to say, keep his name out your mouth.
Well, and so here's what he did. And I'm not gonna do what he did, because if I repeat what he did,
it'll be the Shannon show.
Yeah, well, exactly. and it would just be wrong. Here he put out like what is essentially a racial stereotype. So Ohtani is up to bat, and Detroit Tigers play-by-play announcer Matt Shepard asks Jack Morris, now what do you do? Because he's a pitcher. So he says, from a pitching standpoint, what do you do with Shohei Ohtani? And I can tell you what he said, but I won't do it the way he said it. He said, be very, very careful was his answer. But Jack Morris did it apparently trying to do it in a Asian accent. So he did his best stereotypical, and you could say racist, Asian accent. It wasn't cool. I'm sure a lot of people would find it offensive. So before the telecast ended, we've seen this before. He apologized, and he said, well, folks, Shohei Ohtani is coming to the plate again, and it's been brought to my attention, and I sincerely apologize if I offended anybody, especially anybody in the Asian community, for what I said about pitching and being very careful to Shohei Ohtani. I did not intend for any offensive thing, and I apologize if I did. I certainly respect and have the utmost respect for this guy, and I don't blame a pitcher for walking him. It wasn't about the pitcher walking him. Shannon, I mean, when it comes to race and often when it comes to women, there are some guys in front of microphones who are kind of Neanderthals, and I don't want to insult the Neanderthal community because my 23andMe revealed to me I am 0.5% Neanderthal. So I speak, honestly, I speak about my community, the Neanderthals, but a lot of people need to kind of wake up and smell the 21st century.
Yeah, it sounds like a legitimate apology. The guy is older, and this kind of wave of people standing up and saying like, no, that's not appropriate. And back when he was playing, I mean, that may have no one would have thought of second thing. He apparently thought that was funny. He probably maybe still thinks it's funny, just doesn't realize the cultural shift we've had as far as what you should be saying over a microphone. So I don't really know. Do you take that apology and take it seriously and think he'll continue to broadcast or maybe get a little slap on the wrist but return?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about cancel culture, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
And you make a point. He is, I think, 66 years old. There was, if Jack Morris would have said this 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, maybe nobody would have blinked. Yet there might have been some listeners or viewers who were offended by it. So we live in a new era, but I don't like, as soon as somebody says something wrong or makes a mistake, a lot of people want to say, oh, fire him. Don't ever bring him back. How about we kind of just let him know?
Yeah.
Because you look at Jack Morris's career, it is amazing just from a baseball standpoint. I'm assuming that over the years, Jack Morris has become a part of the Detroit community. He's probably done great things. He's probably done charitable things. For us to judge him and perhaps cancel him over one screw up, in 6 seconds of on-air time, I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think you'd be able to rebound from this. You said we've got some bad stories to talk about, so I pulled up my list that I'm making for our Hall of Shame.
That's right.
Hall of Shame, but I don't think he deserves to go on it.
I agree with you.
If he makes amends, I mean, if he's like, oh, look at all the attention I got, let me continue making jokes and seeing what I can get away with. All right, we may put you on there, but given where we are right now, I don't think he qualifies.
Now, ironically, Shannon, the other bad story that's making headlines this morning involves a pitcher in Major League Baseball. Jack Morris was a big-time pitcher. I'm talking about, we've brought him up before, Trevor Bauer of the LA Dodgers. He's
on the list.
Yeah, he is a potential future Hall of Shamer. He's trying to work his way into the Hall of Shame. They are having a hearing in Los Angeles. It's day number 2 of a restraining order hearing because a woman from the San Diego area has asked for a restraining order because she was the first one to publicly reveal that she had a relationship with Trevor Bauer. And apparently she has photographic evidence of after an intimate encounter. Apparently Trevor Bauer likes to get violent with the ladies that he sleeps with. So he punched her in the face. I think he choked her. I think Trevor Bauer was saying, oh, this is consensual. She was into it. She was asking for it. Not the exact words of Trevor Bauer, but it seemed to be the subtext. So Trevor Bauer's attorney, apparently there was a 43-day gap. And they always do this for victims of sexual assault. Is they go, oh, why didn't you come up sooner? Why didn't you say something sooner? Apparently she waited 43 days to try to get the temporary restraining order. So on a witness stand, Trevor Bauer's attorney was kind of grilling her on why did you wait so long? And apparently she did file a police report much earlier than that. She contacted authorities and said, this is wrong. I've just been brutalized. But she didn't file a restraining order for 43 days. And she said on the stand, she waited so long because the wheels of justice were not moving fast at all, and she was in fear for her safety because apparently there were text messages, and Trevor Bauer was kind of indicating, hey, I'll come find you if you try to screw with my life as a pitcher in Major League Baseball. So this ugly saga of Trevor Bauer, we mentioned it earlier in the week, I think yesterday or Monday, now a second woman, when he was with the Cleveland Indians, a second woman in Ohio is now reporting a very similar experience with Trevor Bauer. So Shannon, while Jack Morris probably cannot yet make a case for the Hall of Shame, I think Trevor Bauer, if these charges are true, certainly may be on his way to the Hall of Shame.
I've got another pitcher for you who's been in the news. Ex-Pirates closer Felipe Vazquez has been in the news, and it was announced yesterday that he is getting a 2 to 4 year jail sentence for some inappropriate acts with a 13-year-old, Chris.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what it is with pitchers right now, but I don't know if they think they're the star of the show, but that doesn't mean outside of the diamond you can do whatever you want.
In what universe?
You're going on the list, Felipe.
Yes. In what universe is it appropriate for a grown man to do these sorts of things with a 13-year-old girl? I mean, how did you, as you were growing up and as you became a legal adult, presumably at age 18, how did you not know? Did no one talk to you? What part of your universe made you? And apparently with this guy, with Felipe, apparently this wasn't the only one. Apparently, and I've heard this, and I've actually had direct anecdotes about this, about baseball players and a lot of professional athletes, NBA, baseball, these sports, probably hockey, that play a lot of games in a lot of cities over the course of a season. There are stories about, and not necessarily underage girls, but
infidelity.
Yeah. Well, and having a different woman in each city. There are guys who,
There's songs about it.
You're making a lot of money and you go city to city to city. And some of these guys have a different woman in every city. Yeah. And then some of these women are very into that lifestyle as well. We've heard stories about women who are kind of like NBA groupies. There was a woman famously a number of years ago who would like to sleep, and apparently very attractive because a lot of NBA players agreed to, have a little fun with her. But she would collect their basketball shoes. She would all right, yeah, let's do a thing, but I'd really love a pair of your shoes. If you really want to turn me on, let me have, and apparently this woman has hundreds of pairs of NBA basketball shoes from very, very good NBA players.
There's a ludicrous song called Area Codes.
That
speaks to the topic we are on right now. Yes. So it's also been popularized by music and
Now I've two consenting adults, but behind closed doors, if both are consenting and you're not going all Trevor Bauer and punching out your significant other, that's okay. But 13-year-old girl, no. Assaulting physically and or sexually assaulting someone who is saying no or not wanting it, Trevor Bauer, not cool. I'm just saying. Hall of Shame.
We need more Tim Tebows, Chris.
We do. See, and that's why. So it's a perfect guy to bring up, I think, Shannon. There's so many bad stories in sports. And in addition to trying out with the New York Mets and now trying out with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tim Tebow actually does a lot of good. He does, granted, yes, and this is what drives some people crazy. He wears his faith and his religion on his sleeve, and that drives some people crazy. But I mean, he has saved people's lives. He has donated a lot of money to people. He has paid for people's operations.
Working very closely with bringing awareness to sex trafficking.
Yes. So I mean,
those people.
I don't know why Tim Tebow is often some people's favorite punching bag when it should be these dirt bags like those you just described.
Put all of that energy into someone who deserves it. If that's the worst thing you can think of Tim Tebow is man, I don't like that he puts Bible numbers on his eye black. That really offends me. If that's the worst you have to say about a guy, I think you need to look at yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe find somebody else to use as your punching bag.
Wow. Yeah, and I hate talking about these awful stories in the world of sports, but we are a sports talk show, and both of those stories. In fact, I just pulled up the ESPN.com website, and their headlines, number one story among everything else is Trevor Bauer, and the number two story is Jack Morris. So the first two stories, then they've got a Yankees story, then they've got Josh Rosen being waived, then they've got an Oakland A being hit in the head by a line drive last night, and on and on. But these are stories, and on a certain level, both good and bad. Part of what I like about the world of sports is they're a reflection of life. There are guys like Jack Morris out there who are 66 years old and saying things that were always inappropriate, but might not have gotten you called out 30 years ago. So there's that. We saw it. He did it in front of a mic. It's a big story. And then you've got Trevor Bauer. Obviously, there are men out there doing awful things that, are assaulting women, both physically and otherwise. And this guy just happens to be a multi-millionaire pitcher for a team that might be winning the World Series without him this year, the LA Dodgers. So this is why I much prefer high five play of the day to talk about something positive. And just now, just flipping it a little bit and just reminding people, even though Tim Tebow is in the news for being cut by the Jaguars yesterday, let us not forget some of the good things Tim Tebow is out there doing.
And I'm sure he'll continue to do good, and that's the other thing too. He's not a guy who sits there and highlights the good and says, look at me, look at me, look at me.
That's
true. Because
true.
he's the guy he is, people pay attention.
That
is why we need a Tim Tebow reality series.
Yes.
Gallivants around different leagues. To be a player.
The more he remains in the public eye, the more he is a personality, the more I think he can do good in the world. And I love the idea, a reality show where he tries all these different sports. And I'm sure you could even tie that into a charity. It's like, all right, if I can achieve this in this sport, maybe even at the end of the game for charity, if he's trying out for basketball, if I can go to the free throw, or if I can hit 4 out of 10 3-point shots, or if I can hit 7 out of 10 free throws or something, he could get sponsors that would then give money to charity. It could be a win-win. Tebow is able to pursue the sports he's always wanted to. We would be entertained because we like to be entertained, and charitable causes will be supported. Win-win-win. Why not do it?
Do we know any producers, and do we know anyone who knows Tim Tebow? We were just having a brainstorming sesh.
Okay.
Great ideas this morning.
I used to bring Bill Bates on. I think I've told you this. Bill Bates, former Dallas Cowboy, special team god, all Madden team, number 40 many, many times. I've told you this story. In high school, Bill Bates's kids played on the same high school football team as Tim Tebow, and Bill Bates was either a defensive coordinator or a defensive linebacker or backfield coach. And I still remember Bill Bates would come on the show and go, hey man, remember this name, Tim Tebow. This kid is special. He's going to do big. So, I was talking Tim Tebow with Bill Bates before anybody knew who Tebow was. So that answers your question. Do we know somebody who knows Tebow? Yes, it's Bill Bates. And yeah, we know a few producers out there who might be able to make this thing happen. Why the heck not?
I want that credit.
Yes.
I want credit.
Well, see, and you need to say, this was my idea. Yes. You can be the executive producer, but I want a producer and a writer credit, and you want a profit participation. I want
royalties.
You want 10% of all gross profits, not net. You want 10% of all gross profits.
Yes.
And then I'll start the next day's radio show. For some reason, Shannon is not joining us. Hello, Shannon.
Vacation.
Hello. And I'll call her up. And you are. Thank you. Thank you very much.
New number, who dis?
Yes. Who dis? Coming up, it is Shannon's Salty Shake. Coming up with great ideas all morning long. What will the Salty Shakedown be like on a midweek Wednesday, August 18th? We're about to find out. We'll bring you this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and don't forget, we love Mr. Bill Schoening. Going to join us just after 8 o'clock. He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs and our go-to guy on all things basketball. He's also great on the Longhorns. We'll talk a little Longhorn football with him. Isn't today the open practice at DKR?
Open practice, DKR.
Woo!
Gates open at 6.
Schoening might be going to that. So we'll talk a lot basketball and horns with Bill Schoening. We are with you till 9. She's the salty one. Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. I'm Chris. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. Beth Settle. Welcome in, Beth Settle. Woo. In fact, this shirt that I am wearing today, Beth, it was a birthday gift yesterday from Beth. Thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. Very cool shirt, by the way. And I wear it in honor of Beth and Hard Knocks and America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Woo! Okay. Yeah, I need coffee, and then I need to edit the spots that I just cut. And then we'll bring you some sports history. Something I needed to look up here. What was it? Oh, okay. Jason says, I was friends with a AA groupie who was like Susan Sarandon, but with the missions. She ended up with a dentist. LOL. Jason, I'll tell the story someday. Steve Duraco and I used to go to LA Dodgers games, and a very prominent Dodger was called up to the LA Dodgers from the San Antonio Dodgers. It's been so many years. I can give her first name. I'm not going to give the player's name yet. I'll do it. If I'm ever, I just don't want to, because somebody can screenshot this, and I don't want to go on the record and talk ill of him. And what if he's got a wife and a family now? And, but anyway, so she had a relationship. She was a Dodger dolly, like a cheerleader for the AA team, the San Antonio Dodgers. She had a relationship with this guy who became a relatively prominent LA Dodger. So she, when he gets called up to the Dodgers, she moves to LA thinking to be with him. She moved to LA. He's like, oh, he loves me. She got to LA. He I think saw her once and said, look, I'm really busy now with the, it was sad. She thought this is my dude. And so anyway, there's that. So she wasn't really a groupie. She was like with this one dude who then kind of blew her off. Okay. Now, okay, now. Gotta edit this.
George Thorogood coming back.
Great, thank you. Here we come. Sending that one out to Tim Tebow, who is now looking for work. Tim Tebow, well, you already got a haircut. Now you just need a real job. You're halfway there. Mr. Dave Ayler with some George Thorogood to bring us back. We are giving away George Thorogood tickets in less than an hour. We'll do that just before 8:30 if you continue to listen. And you should, because there's so much going on. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler, Super Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. Thank you for the George Thorogood music. Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Lots to talk about. Some NBA news last night. We have a new champion in the Summer League. We found out some opening night matchups that will take place on opening night of the regular season in the NBA. That'll be October 19th. And we also found out the slate of Christmas Day games yesterday, and the San Antonio Spurs are not playing on Christmas Day or Christmas night, Shannon, because nobody likes the Spurs.
It's because the Mavs are playing instead.
Who are the Mavs playing?
They're playing the Jazz on Christmas Day.
Nice.
And then opening day, the Mavs are also playing. They're playing Atlanta.
See?
Trae Young. Trae Young v. Luka.
Luka
Opening day.
Doncic, face of the NBA perhaps soon, or certainly one of the big time young stars of the NBA.
Or I guess not opening day, opening week. They are a primetime game.
Yes. Woo. So that's going to be cool. And of course, Bill Schoening, our source for all things NBA. We'll talk all of that NBA stuff coming up with Bill Schoening in less than a half an hour. He is magnificent. In a moment, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. Enjoy it while you can before she becomes the producer of the new Tim Tebow reality show, which will be on Hulu, probably, or Netflix. Or
but the paid version, because I want to make all
That's
the money I
right.
can.
You want to see Tim Tebow play alongside Luka Doncic of the Mavericks, then you better
Commercial
pony
free.
up some cash. Yes.
Commercial free.
And if you want like an early all access, Pat, you can just send some money to Shannon now. Just,
Follow me on social.
and she'll remember you. What's a good money? A PayPal? What's a good money sending app?
I don't use any of those because they charge you whenever you send and
Oh.
receive. So I use Patreon. I don't even know. No, it's like something within like every banking app, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. And as I'm trying to mention it, I can't even remember what it's called. But I don't. Everyone's into Venmo and everything, and I think that's a great tool.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want to pay. Zelle. Zelle is what it's called. Yeah, and it's in like almost every banking app. You have it already.
Yeah.
And it doesn't charge you to send and receive your own money.
I downloaded Zelle once. Someone wanted. I was
They have
actually.
an actual app too.
Yeah, there is an app. Yeah,
Okay.
but I couldn't figure it out. There is a shaman from Colombia who occasionally does some really cool, ceremonies that you can participate in. And he to finance them, he wanted, you make a contribution through Zelle. I downloaded the app, but I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, it's all you need is a phone number or an email address. That's how you send it.
Very cool.
And like I said, mine is on my banking app, so it's very secure. And again, it doesn't charge me 3% to deal with my own money.
Jason Paniagua on the live stream says use Venmo or the Cash app is a way to send money. See, here's what I'm thinking, Shannon. You do and we got the Salty Shakedown coming up, but you could have a special uncut director's cut and no FCC restriction version of the Salty Shakedown, and people on Zelle or on Patreon or Venmo or the Cash app or PayPal or whatever you choose could say, hey man, that was a great Salty Shakedown, but for only $5 a day, you could have the uncut director's cut Salty Shakedown.
I mean, football season's coming up, and the Salty Shakedown is a podcast, so I could be posting some.
Woo.
But I hate it when people post on social media their Cash App name or their Venmo, and they're like, "It's my birthday, send me or something." Like, I think that's so tacky to have that in your bio and just wishful thinking that strangers will send you coin. That's like creating a false GoFundMe.
But what I did see during, especially during COVID when we were all locked in our homes, there were some musicians out there. There's a guy I love in San Antonio. His name is Chris Taylor. So he would like every Wednesday night do a show from his because he used to go to clubs and he couldn't go to clubs because COVID shut everything down. So and I don't know, I'm saying Wednesday night, but it was a certain night and it was like it's 7 p.m. But he'd have like a virtual tip jar. So you could like listen to his music. It was like going seeing him in a club and here, if you feel it, tip me. If not, that's okay. There was also a piano player from Dirty Nelly's, which is an Irish pub on the San Antonio Riverwalk, and they just have fun and they play great sing-along drinking music. And Dirty Nelly's was closed, so he was doing that as well. And it was fun. It was like, hey man, this is a fun piano. Oh, and he would take requests. Yeah. So I'd be there on the show and watching him live on live stream or whatever he did it. And I'd request a song and he'd say, oh, Chris, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I can do that song. And dun 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 dun. It was just fun. And so you throw $5 in the tip jar.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I've been to some restaurants here in Austin that have brought some live music back, and instead of cash, again, cash shortage, and also people just don't carry cash as much these days. So they say, hey, if you want to tip me through the app. That makes sense. But if you're just a person who happens to have a little bit of a following on social media, you just put that up there to hope that on a random Wednesday people send you money.
Yeah, if you randomly feel like sending me money, please. Okay. All right. I got to get moving because we don't want to miss any of the Salty Shakedown. Let's get this party started. Sports birthdays, but first, how about this day in sports history? 1965. Hank Aaron loses a home run because he hit it while he was standing outside the batter's box. So Hank Aaron, who until Barry Bonds was the home run king, would have had one more home run if he would have stayed in the damn batter's box. This day in 1981, football running back Herschel Walker of the University of Georgia takes out a $1 million insurance policy against injury with Lloyd's of London. Back then, that was a rare thing. I think a lot of young athletes have insurance policies now, but it was a big deal then. Finally, this day in sports history, former Longhorn and Houston Oiler Earl Campbell retires from the NFL. The Tyler Rose, can't get enough of him. That's sports history. Moving on to sports birthdays. Born on this day in 1928, Marge Schott, a one-time owner of the Cincinnati Reds. She was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, so it was appropriate she would own the Reds. She got into a little kerfuffle when she was kind of advocating Hitler at one point, so kind of not cool. In fact, she may be a nominee for the Hall of Shame one day. She passed away in 2004. Speaking of passing away, this guy is a baseball Hall of Famer. People loved him. Roberto Clemente, born on this day in 1934, outfielder, 15-time Major League Baseball All-Star, World Series champion in 1960 and 1971. He was born in Carolina, Puerto Rico on this day in 1934. In 1972, he was headed to Managua, Nicaragua to help victims of an earthquake. He was just going to roll up his sleeves and help them, and the plane that he was on crashed, and Roberto Clemente, a baseball superstar, died. Finally, born on this day in 1980, Jeremy Shockey, American football player, badass tight end, born in Ada, Oklahoma. Happy birthday, Jeremy, Roberto, and Marge. Those are your sports birthdays. And now, with no further ado, here it is, your free. You don't have to pay her for this, but if you want to, just download Zelle. Here it is, your Salty Shakedown.
Well, since we're talking money, I wonder if A-Rod tipped the pizza delivery guy.
Ooh.
Who, unbeknownst to him, delivered pizza to his Hampton home, where he's renting a house currently in the Hamptons, where a lot of very, very rich people go and spend their summer. Great weather there, I hear. A-Rod was delivered pizzas that he did not order. They came from a gentleman who claimed his name was Ben Affleck, minus the K. For those unaware, Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez split up. She went back to her former lover, Mr. Ben Affleck, and they've been gallivanting all around California this summer. And so as a prank, someone got online, ordered $141.32 worth of pizza that the only topping it had on it was chicken, and sent it to A-Rod while he was at his Hamptons home. Again, he's renting this home, and someone had the address. That's scary enough. And then the fact that he paid that much money for pizza just so he didn't even have a note, a message. It was just this pizza's from Ben Affleck.
Wow.
With no K. Chris?
Well,
terrifying? Funny?
Well, and you said
all of the above?
All of the above. And the scary part, he's a public figure, and somebody knows where he's vacationing and knows the address. And, it happens.
If it's like an Airbnb situation, I guess if he's seen pictures from social media or something and then searched throughout the Airbnb website to see what the inside of some of those homes, maybe I guess those addresses are available. I'm not exactly sure, but it is getting easier to find people's addresses these days. But I don't know. It's funny until you find out, wait, how did he know where he lived? Or where he was staying. That is in fact scary.
Yes.
Because we talk a lot about baseball cards, and that you and I don't really get the collector's thing, but they go for a lot of money. We talk about some other specialty items that end up on the selling block, the auction block, that end up going for ungodly amounts of money. Well, Chris, we have a new edition, and I don't know how legit this is. Messi, of course, is no longer with Barcelona. He's been there forever. came to terms that just the league, they couldn't afford to keep him. There were some things going on. So he is now with PSG, but he gave a tearful goodbye speech before he left, and he wiped away his tears and any snot bubbles he had with a tissue. Someone claims that they picked up after the ceremony, and it is now online in an international auction site listed for $1 million. And this person claims, listen, it has his genetics on it. You could clone him. Clone another player like Messi. So this $1 million would really be an investment when you think about all the money Messi has made throughout soccer and all the deals he's had secures with endorsements. That this would be investment, $1 million. I don't know how legit this is, because how do you know this person didn't just take a random tissue?
Blow his nose in it.
And, I mean, unless you could verify that this is the tissue, I don't know that this is worth going for. And then again, I think Messi could then send out some cease and desist or some other legal action to be like, you cannot clone me. You cannot do that. That's ridiculous, Chris. And again, terrifying to think that you're that level of celebrity and then people are trying to clone you.
I understand sports collectibles, but I think a human being's bodily fluids should be off limits.
Yeah.
Please, for the love of God.
Can you imagine you spent that $1 million, and not to clone him, but just to have it, just to have that piece of history, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what you would keep it in, but imagine you just have it like sitting out and someone walks by and they're like trying to be helpful. You've had them over for dinner. They're trying to be helpful. They're picking up and they throw it away.
Oh.
What then? That's $1 million in the trash. Ridiculous.
Someday, Shannon, you and I you may live to see the day. Somebody's going to clone somebody like that. There's going to be a cloning of a big time athlete.
Is it Barbara Streisand who cloned one of her dead dogs? And so now she has.
Is that right?
Dogs
I vaguely remember
her old dog. Yeah. I know people have done that and like, that's a thing now that you can pay for.
Now you're a big dog lover. Would you, your current dachshund, if someone said, hey, I have the technology and I know it's expensive, but you're a friend. I'm a big fan of the show and the Salty Shakedown. If your dog passes away, you want to clone the dog. It's
not the same. I feel guilty. Yeah. All my dogs have different personalities. I of course miss the ones that are no longer with us, but that's what pictures are for.
Yeah.
And also I'm a dog person. So I've ordered from, the pet websites, and every now and then you get a spam email. That I have gotten one where it's like, get your dog's DNA. And then you can now okay, first of all, no, don't have the funds, but it's very expensive on top of it. But no, also very, very creepy. Also, people who get their animals stuffed. No,
that's a little weird.
That's a lot. That's too much. Weird. That's gone too far. Yeah. All right, finally today, Chris, it is Madden release week.
Woo!
And NBA 2K doesn't want to be left out. Their game is releasing in a couple weeks' time, so they want to make sure that they're staying relevant as people are starting to talk about Madden. And so this week they are beginning to release the ratings for players. KD, one of the cover athletes for this year's mini covers, was on their social media, and he made his case for being a 99 athlete, which he thinks he deserves. We've got the audio here.
I think my rating should be a 99. Once again, I work extremely hard. I can make shots from all over the floor. I'm a solid passer. I think I'm a great passer, great rebounder. I pretty much do everything great. That's why I should get 99.
He does everything great, Chris. Now, unlike Madden, where there is that 99 club, it's even more rare in NBA 2K to reach 99 status. Only a few players have done it, and only one player has ever reached 100. 100 isn't even a thing in Madden, but Shaq got 100, and I believe it was 2002.
That's ridiculous because he couldn't shoot free throws. He should not be 100.
Exactly. He may have paid them some money or something. And the 99 club only includes Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Chris Paul, and that's while they were currently active and playing. And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jordan, who have been featured in a couple of the games, have also received 99s. And so last year, the highest rating was a 97. Which two stars do you think had those?
Oh, gosh. I'll go Kevin Durant and James Harden.
LeBron and Giannis.
Oh!
So I would bet, without looking at it, that KD was a 96, maybe 95. So you think you think even though he's a cover athlete, he's made his case that they will give him a 99 this year?
I think right now Kevin Durant is the best, when healthy, the best player in the NBA. I think he deserves it, and if he's calling for it, give it to him. Let's see what happens.
It's interesting he hasn't already been in that club, considering. I mean, Chris Paul, I guess, was a cover athlete one year. Maybe they felt like they would give that to him. So I don't know. I mean, Kevin Durant, we'll certainly hear about it if he doesn't make that 99ers club. Maybe they'll give him 100. Maybe he will be the second player ever to have a 100 rating on the game. But that's something to look out for this week as that becomes released, and also Kevin Durant's reaction once that rating does come out for him. There you have it. Today's Salty Shakedown.
Outstanding, spectacular Salty Shakedown, as always. Scary Salty Shakedown involving stalkers. And I really, though, the guys you mentioned with the 99 rating, including Tim Duncan, whom I love, obviously. But yeah, I think Kevin Durant, at the height of his powers, it should be in that club of those names that you read. I am now watching what he did for Team USA. A, answering his country's call. B, being the best player in the Olympics, not just on Team USA. And C, doing Coach Greg Popovich a solid, helping Pop lead that team to gold. I must tell you, I've been critical of Kevin Durant ever since he left OKC to join a super team, but I am now, this season, now that Patty Mills is on the Brooklyn Nets, Brooklyn might become a team I kind of like in the East.
Yeah, and you heard it. He made his case, and part of that case was that he does everything, and he just listed some of the everything he does. So I'd be okay with it. I'm sure his haters would come for him, and then he'd go right back at him.
On Twitter, yeah, with burner accounts.
But these are always, even if you're not a video game person, the ratings are something that everyone who's a fan of the in real life game can grab onto and talk about. And they do change ratings throughout the year. I mean, if someone gets hurt and they come back and they're half the player they were, the NBA 2K has no problem coming in, and they do that in Madden too throughout the year. Based on QBR ratings, quarterbacks will drop throughout the year. So it's always fun to watch and something fun to tune into from time to time.
That was great stuff. A tremendous Salty Shakedown, and we're going to keep the party going. In fact, talking about basketball, nobody we'd rather talk basketball with than the great Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs.
Maybe he'll get Kevin a 99.
There you go. Let's ask him who deserves a 99 and who is the best player in the NBA right now. Okay. We're going to ask the tough Mike Wallace questions to Bill Schoening. We're going to grill him next. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler making the show go. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! That was great. Woo-woo! All right, I got to finish my editing here at some point, and I will. Not before I get some more coffee. Very nice, John Williams. Fight on for USC. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you for reporting. And anytime USC defeats the evil, despicable UCLA Bruins, that's a beautiful thing. Then, another angel in heaven wearing Song Girl gear got her wings last night. Yeah, Dean. I see I understand your point of view, and I get it and I agree for the most part. That's why it was kind of refreshing to see the Milwaukee Bucks win. Kind of not kind of a small market. Giannis choosing to stay there, he could have joined a super team. Okay, I got to edit again. Let me do this. So I need the second one. What's happening?
My boys are playing some good ball finally.
My God. Yeah, they won that doubleheader last night, which they're currently tied for the wild card, and they were 9.5 back, right? Just not too long. Yep. And they made moves before the trade deadline, which sadly the Astros did not do, and they're floundering right now.
Yeah, that's supposed to be okay.
I don't know.
But I just wish that the Orioles could get about 10 players to beat Tampa Bay right now, because the Orioles have now lost 12 in a row, so Tampa Bay maintains their lead by 5 games in the AL East.
Wow.
But the Orioles are just horrible.
Yeah. And you know what? As much as I give you a hard time, as much I do kind of pull against them. It's better for when the Yankees are good and in the postseason. It's better for baseball. Win or lose.
Lakers, Cowboys, Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah, I listen driving in. Sometimes I listen to Joe Scarborough on MSNBC. He talks a lot. I think he's a Red Sox fan, but he talks a lot of baseball. And he says Yankees are going to win the World Series. He said, he said this like a week ago. He said, mark my words, Yankees are going to win 4-2 over the LA Dodgers in the World Series. Yeah. So this one is the second one. Third one. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. I've done 3, right? So that's 4. We are into the second half of August. What's going on here? Why is that? As cool, man. Thank you. Good morning, Rudy. Welcome in. Everybody on Facebook Live, on the live video stream, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you may be. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging. Bill Schoening is on the line. He's always outstanding. Here we go.
This is the Chris Duel Show.
You know the day destroys the night.
Now, Chris Duel.
We are midway through the week. You could kind of call it halftime, or at least midday today. It'll be halftime of this work week. It is Wednesday, August 18th. The Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Ayler, your soundscape stylist. And coming up before the bottom of the hour, your chance to win George Thorogood tickets. George Thorogood coming to the Tobin Center. I think tickets go on sale to the public tomorrow, but we've been giving away the tickets all week. George Thorogood, just a hit machine. That should be a great show. So we will tell you when to call in for that. So much going on in the world of sports and a lot of NBA news yesterday and last night. We have crowned a new NBA Summer League champion, and some of the NBA regular season schedule has been released. Some games on opening day in the NBA we now know, and we know what's going to be on television. Opening night, Tuesday, October 19th. And we also know the Christmas Day games. To react to all of this and more, we love having him on the show, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Before that, longtime voice of the Texas Longhorns, Mr. Bill Schoening. How are you on a Wednesday morning?
Very, very good, Chris. And let me just say something about George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers. That was his first band.
Nice.
Wilmington, Delaware. I got to see them play in a club on South Street in Philly, 1975.
Wow.
76, somewhere back around there. And this club held maybe 500 people. I don't know, but it was a very rocking night. So George Thorogood has been around for a long, long time with a lot of bluesy rock. So that'll be a good show. When is that and where is that?
That's the Tobin Center in San Antonio. It's not until December 4th, so it's way out there. But it'd be nice, win the tickets. You could have the tickets now.
No, we'll find out later this week whether December 4th will be an open date, because I believe the report I read is that the NBA schedule, the full schedule, of course, you already announced the Christmas Day games, but I believe the full schedule will be released on Friday. So we'll know the full Spurs schedule. And if December 4th is open, I may very well be there at the Tobin Center.
Yeah, I may be there as well. Before I talk some NBA with you, and Shannon does as well, when you saw George Thorogood in 1975, did you order one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer?
I don't think I was of drinking age yet. I don't know that I could have ordered those three things on that particular evening. I'm not saying I didn't, but I was not of legal drinking age.
Yeah. See, Bill, if you were hanging with me in 1975, I wasn't of drinking age either, but I had a fake ID. Back then in Texas, drinking age was 18 in 1975. I was 15 and I looked like I was 12. And I got a fake ID, and I'm not proud of this. Kids at home, don't do this. But I would walk into a convenience store with a 6-pack of beer and go, "I'd like this 6-pack of beer." And the guy at the rate go, "Get out of here, kid!" And I would whip out my fake ID, and he'd look at it and he goes, "All right, you're good to go." And he'd take the money, and I'd have the beer. And they were simpler days, Bill, back in the mid '70s.
Since we're on this tangent right now, back when I was a kid in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, it was 21, the drinking age, during my high school years. But right across the river in New Jersey, which was 10 minutes from my house, 18. So guess where a lot of the kids hung out? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where we were.
That was a crazy time back in when you could drink legally at 18. It was just insane. All right, Bill. As you mentioned, and I love it. The full NBA schedule coming out on Friday. As you look at, once again, let me ask you this one: Spurs don't play on Christmas Day. That hasn't happened for a while. How do you think the Spurs as a team, as an organization, are maybe a little relieved that they can spend Christmas with their families?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you want Christmas with the family. Obviously, if that's not going to happen, then you want to be part of that Christmas Day extravaganza that the networks put on. And sometimes it's a big, big showcase because all the other teams are watching, all the fans are watching, everybody's got your undivided attention. I don't know, some folks now, for you and me, it's certainly not the case, Chris, but there are some people that kind of casually watch the NBA, and to them, Christmas Day is the first day they watch a game, first time they watch a game. They don't pay attention to the games in October, November, or even early December, but Christmas Day, even though it's about a quarter of the way through the season, that's when people start paying attention and seeing what's relevant at that time. But to answer your question, I think that, most families or most players that have families enjoy the time with their family. But in traveling with the Spurs all these years, I will say that it's like a family when we travel. And, Pop has always been real good about it. But if we're traveling on Thanksgiving or Christmas, he'll invite the travel party out for a big dinner. So we get to spend it together because we're not with our families on that day.
I will admit I'm one of those people that, I'm so consumed by football, and then you get to Christmas Day, very rarely do we have football on Christmas Day. So I am all about basketball that day. Now, last week, the story kind of came out about a little excerpt from Giannis's upcoming autobiography of Jason Kidd making that Bucks team practice and work out through Christmas after they lost a bad game. Guys were upset. They already had plans to go home. He didn't care. One guy ends up checking himself into the hospital after such a hard and brutal workout. So interesting to see that both the Bucks are now playing on Christmas Day and his new team, the Dallas Mavericks. So I guess they don't need to worry about having to stay in practice because they know they'll be playing a game. But in your mind, given what we know now about what supposedly happened, we haven't heard anything from the Mavericks or Jason Kidd directly about this situation. Do you feel like that's something they need to address, or maybe just see if it'll wash over?
I think some coaches, when they're very young in their first job or whatever, tend to be a little bit maybe overzealous and maybe a little hard on their team sometimes, and they're not performing up to expectations. I would imagine at this point in time, Jason Kidd has been an assistant now. and he's got a chance to kind of, work with other coaches, I would think that he'd be a little bit easier on the Mavericks than he was in the Bucks. But we'll see what happens. But, everybody goes through a maturing process. And also, how old is Giannis to be writing an autobiography? A little bit to, you can't write an autobiography when you're 25, 26 years old, can you? You've got a long way to go.
Giving the people what they want.
Yep. That's a great point.
The money, right, Shannon? He's doing it for the Bucks because he's not making enough on the court.
Bucks for Bucks.
Good point. He's doing it for the Bucks in more ways than one. Very, very well put. He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. And Bill, I know that you have been paying close attention to the Summer League and certainly watching the Spurs in the Summer League. We did see a new Summer League champion crowned last night as the Sacramento Kings defeat the Boston Celtics 100-67. And I was telling Shannon earlier in the show, Bill, a few years ago when the Spurs won the Summer League, I was like, yeah, see? Spurs, baby, Summer League, Becky Hammond, head coach. It's interesting when your team wins Summer League, it's very exciting. And this year, Sacramento wins it, and I'm like, whatever, Sacramento. But I mean, what did you see in Summer League that you found interesting and intriguing, whether it was involving the Spurs or anybody else?
I tried to watch most of the Spurs games, and I'll be honest, I did not watch the championship game yesterday. Quick, Chris, name the last 5 Summer League champions.
I can name the last one, and I can name another one in the last 10 years. That was the Spurs.
Yeah, that and a couple of bucks get you a cup of coffee. Right? That's not going to help you. But I did watch the Spurs games, and I was very intrigued by Josh Primo. Now, he was a very young draft pick. There's no question. He's got a long way to go. He's very young. But, man, the athleticism and the ball handling skills that he showed, and also, he didn't shoot the ball well in his last game. He shot 8 for 22, but he got 22 good quality shots off. Maybe not all of them great shots, but for the most part, he got to a spot and got a good look. And that's what I was looking at. Now, eventually he's going to hit those shots, and he did hit a few of them, like I said. But I really like the way he carries himself. He seems like he's very mature. He did not have the ball an awful lot in his hands when he was at the University of Alabama. So perhaps his role has changed a little bit. They put the ball in his hands a little bit more in Summer League. And I think Mitch Johnson got what he wanted out of Josh Primo, got him a chance to really get his feet wet a little bit against good competition. This guy obviously needs some seasoning, but I think that he's got those raw skills. And he clearly is a very, very bright young guy with a big high basketball IQ. He's got a very bright future for the Spurs, so I was very impressed with him. But the player I was most impressed with was Trey Jones. Because, Trey missed all the Salt Lake City games because of a concussion protocol. But when he got a chance to play in Vegas, he played very, very well. He was a great quarterback. He got other people involved. He got good assists. But he was very aggressive driving the ball. And it seemed to me like he knew how to use his body on those drives to where he would either draw a foul or get the angle for a layup. And he finished pretty well in a lot of those situations. I think one game he had 34 points. He almost had a triple-double with 8 or 9 rebounds and 8 assists. So I was really encouraged by what I saw from Trey Jones. Devin Vassell only played, I think, 1 game in Salt Lake City, or in Vegas, rather. And he looked very good in that game, but then he had the hamstring issue. And as Mitch Johnson said afterwards, hey, we're not going to mess around with an injury in Summer League. If a guy's not fully 100%, we're going to sit him. And that's a good move because you don't want something lingering like a hamstring for a guy like Devin Vassell, who I think has a chance to really work his way into a solid rotation spot, probably on that second team this coming season. So, I was very encouraged by what I saw from some of the young Spurs in that Summer League.
We talked about Greg Brown III after his performance last night for his through the legs dunk in his Summer League game. We actually tweeted it out. He liked it, so he agrees he deserved the high five today. Jericho Sims, another Texas alum who's been making a name for himself in the Summer League. So I wanted to ask you, because obviously, you just mentioned all the Spurs guys and the impact you think they could have. How often is it that guys create a name for themselves in Summer League and then really see a good, solid career, whether it be superstar or just a long-lasting career in the NBA after being such a great performer in Summer League? I mean, so many guys there now. I think of LiAngelo Ball, who, has been trying to get into the NBA for the last couple of years. He was talked about frequently throughout this Summer League. he may be getting a shot here soon. But what does how does being in summer league convert to a full regular NBA season?
Well, I think it's only just begun, right, Shannon? I mean, this is just the very, very beginning. It's a chance to play with your teammates against good competition in the summer league, but it's just the very, very beginning. You're just scratching the surface. Now, a lot of these guys will go back to their respective cities and work out with their new teammates for the next couple of weeks. Summer ball, just getting loose, getting ready, making sure they stay in shape. I think Lonnie Walker, the fourth, was interviewed during Vegas and saying that he's doing 3 days right now. So these guys are very serious. This is the time where they really start to pick up their tempo and pick up their work activity as far as working out on the floor. And then the teams kind of get together usually in the month of September, a few weeks before the actual start of training camp. So this is an important time right now. It's going to take a little break. This is the final break. And then, boom, you get right back into it, especially when September starts. The business space goes on, if you will. So for some of these young guys, summer league was very, very important in the step of their development, but they still have a long way to go.
He's the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. And Bill, as Shannon brings up some Texas Longhorn basketball players, Greg Brown III showing in Summer League. Of course, the greatest Longhorn on the floor these days is Kevin Durant. And I love him even more for what he just did with Team USA. And I think he did a solid not only for his country, but certainly helped Coach Greg Popovich lead that team to gold in Tokyo. Shannon was mentioning to me the NBA 2K video game, which I don't play because I'm an old guy, but is not only huge among the kids, but the players pay very, very close attention to it. And the highest rating you can get is a 99 as a player in NBA 2K. Tim Duncan once had a 99, and Shannon played some audio earlier. Kevin Durant now lobbying for a 99. Where would you rank? Is Kevin Durant, in your view, the best player in the NBA or in the top three? How good do you believe he is right now as an NBA player?
Yeah, right now, when healthy, I would put him number one because, he led that team to the gold medal, and that was very, very impressive performance. I'm like you, Chris. I'm an old guy, so I don't follow the video game and all the different rankings they have for different players, but I would imagine that Kevin Durant right now would be right at the top of that. And it's interesting that Tim Duncan was so high up there, because I would imagine that efficiency is a big part of that. So if a guy shoots a high percentage, you can average 30 points a game and take 40 shots a game. But if you're, scoring 30 points and doing all those other things and shooting a high percentage, that makes you much more valuable. And that's the thing that Kevin Durant has always done. He has shot at a pretty high percentage.
And how do you feel? The only person who's ever reached the 100 in 2K is Shaq in 2002. Chris made a great point that dude can't shoot free throws, so how could he have 100? Do you know why he might have gotten 100 on NBA 2K?
Yes, intimidation. I think that he just intimidates people. No, I have no idea. Shaq's just a big teddy bear. I've gotten a chance to meet him a few times. He's got a great smile. But he does let you know that he is 7'1" and 350 pounds or whatever he is. He uses his size to his advantage. But he may intimidate with a big smile on his face. That's kind of the way Shaq is. But, it's surprising that he got 100. As you mentioned, he was never a great free throw shooter. But there was a point in time during that period of time in the early part of this century where he was very, very difficult to stop. If he gets the ball in the low block, he backs you down. There's not much you can do because he's that strong and that powerful. He's going to get a dunk or a layup or go to the free throw line, which probably is a good way to use your fouls because he's not going to shoot 100% at the free throw line. He might make 100% of his dunks, but he'll shoot about 50% from the line.
Well, the guy that came up earlier in the show, he started his rookie season with a 75 rating, and last season he was at an 81. Buddy Hield. I remember him coming out of Oklahoma, and he was going to be that next Blake Griffin, that next Trey, or what Trae Young ultimately became, where they became megastars in the NBA. They've got all the endorsement deals. They are the star of their roster. And so I'm asking you, did he fail at that? Is it because he's on the Sacramento Kings, who, we kind of laughed that they won the Summer League because that's the first thing they've won in forever? I mean, where did his bubble burst?
Well, I don't know that his career is over. He's still a fairly young player. He's still in his 20s. He's a very streaky shooter. I've seen Buddy Hield get very, very hot. In fact, I think there was a game last year or 2 years ago against the Spurs out in Sacramento, where he really got hot, scored over 30 points. But then there are nights where he doesn't do that, and he is a little inconsistent. So I think that's been the knock on Buddy Hield, is that he shows flashes of being that guy you talked about out of the University of Oklahoma, and then there are also nights where he just doesn't have it. And, consistency is always one of the main things you're looking for from players. But Buddy can light it up. There's no question. I mean, when he's on, he's as good as there is as far as shooting the ball is concerned.
Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. And Bill, I don't want you to get out of here without at least asking you a Longhorn football question, because I know because you used to call the games, you pay very, very close attention to the Texas Longhorns. This week, the AP Top 25 preseason poll came out, and they ranked the Longhorns at number 21, whereas previously the coaches poll had the Longhorns ranked at number 19. Now, Shannon thinks this is about right. In my head, the Longhorns are a pretty darn good football team. I know that, some people go, well, there's a new head coach. Well, it's Sark. He was just at Alabama, and he's been a big-time head coach before, and now he's got all the corporate knowledge from Nick Saban at Alabama. Bijan Robinson, a great running back. I know there's going to be a new quarterback, but how do you feel about the Longhorns being number 21 according to the AP poll?
As far as the talent is concerned, that's probably right around where they are. It is a first-year head coach, as you mentioned, so this is a whole new system. They have a lot of time now to kind of get that system down because they had spring ball. I think Sark has said all the right things. I like the fact that he's already said that he's going to give Bijan Robinson at least 20 touches a game. I think that's important. I think that's one of the things that happened back when I was the voice of the Longhorns. In Ricky Williams' junior year, he didn't get as many touches as he needed, and he would have still been one of the top draft picks coming out after his junior year. He decided to come back. Mac Brown said, you know what? I got a horse. I'm going to ride him. And he gave Ricky 30, 35 carries a game, and he won the Heisman Trophy, and the Longhorns had a great year. So I'm not comparing Bijan Robinson to Ricky Williams, but I think he is a very, very good, talented running back, and they need to give him the ball, whether it's passing out of the backfield with little swing routes or just getting him the ball in situations, in short yardage situations. So I think that this offense is going to be very, very good. I've been impressed with Hudson Card. Casey Thompson had a great bowl game. I know they're still neck and neck as far as, who's going to be the starting quarterback. But he needs to make that decision probably pretty soon because they're just a couple of weeks away. I know they've got a big scrimmage coming up on Saturday, and that may very well go a long way in determining who's going to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, and I understand a free scrimmage today, or an open practice, actually. An open practice open to the public at DKR today, which is pretty cool. Bill Schoening, voice of the San Antonio Spurs, man, as I'm hearing about this NBA schedule release, and, the 19th is regular season. I think October 4th is preseason, I think. So,
opener for the Spurs,
yeah. So just one full month. We're almost done with August, and then we're into just the month of September, and then you're back at it as voice of the Spurs, man. Yes.
I can't do this without a studio guy.
Well, it is my honor and pleasure to be a part of it with you. It's great fun. Bill Schoening, always outstanding, sir. Thanks for taking the time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
Thank you, Bill. And in honor of Bill Schoening, who in 1975 was in a club in New Jersey watching George Thorogood, let's give away some George Thorogood tickets right now. Shannon, what number shall we, in honor of Kevin Durant, should we take caller 99?
Yeah, 99 or yeah. No, let's just do 9. How about that?
Number 9.
Take one of those 9s and do caller number 9 today.
Caller number 9, phone number 800-707-9760, 800-707-9760. Caller 9 gets the tickets. And if you're like one of the first few callers, hit redial. You might be able to get in twice to Mr. Dave Ayler. We'll find out who the big winner is. Lots more to talk about between now and 9 o'clock in the world of sports. Let's get back into the NFL. Tebow, Josh Rosen cut. We'll talk more Hard Knocks regarding the Dallas Cowboys. And there's apparently some Brett Favre information out there as well. We'll get to a lot of stuff here in the next half hour. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. All right. Oh, that's loud. So loud. It's so loud. Let me do this. Now, did I save that? All right. No. Great. Now this, that's just what I needed. All right, let's do it again. There you go, Jason. Jason said when I won Clapton tickets, I was caller 1 and then caller 5 for the win. That's pretty cool. There you go, Yancey. Cowboys should sign Brett Favre to back up Dak. Johnny Manziel's available. Josh Rosen is available. Okay. Just when I needed. That is so weird. Try one more time. All right. Wow, my computer just completely died. See if I still have StreamYard. Looks like it. Wow. Let's try that. It looks like everything went black and then it came back, and I see StreamYard, so I may be back. So weird. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. I was trying to email some files, and for some reason I can't get into SA Prod. Can you? I'm just curious if you can do it from your computer, because if it's on the M drive, yeah. Okay. Okay. So weird. It was working for me all morning, and just when I needed it to email these files to Austin, it went away. So I mean, I may try again from one of the other computers. All right. Yeah, we talked about the Romo idea, Yancey. Shannon doesn't like it. I kind of like it. Here we go. Rockin' morning tunes provided by soundscape stylist Super Dave Ayler. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney and Dave Ayler. We have a winner of the George Thorogood tickets. We took caller number 9. Who was our big winner on a Wednesday?
Big winner was Shane Sirmeyer.
Very nice. Hope you like George Thorogood. And again, if you didn't win today, you got a shot on Thursday and on Friday, which is absolutely beautiful. Shannon, before we get into some football, you did also have a story on, don't say we never talk hockey here, because occasionally we do. Dave Ayler, a big St. Louis Blues fan. So what's going on with the NHL and jersey ads?
Apparently in the 2022-23 season, they will begin to allow ads on the front of NHL jerseys. They already have ads or sponsors on practice wear, and some special tournaments they allow them as well. It's not crazy. The NBA, obviously, a lot of teams now have that little patch on the, I believe it's like the upper left shoulder, for whatever jersey sponsor they have. Obviously, if you watch any soccer, Austin FC, they don't have Austin FC across their chest. They have Yeti across their chest. They are the official jersey sponsor. And, for something like that in the MLS, which is still a very much a growing league, that's where all their money comes from. They don't have the NFL broadcasting contracts. Their money comes from, look how many people watch our games. Look how many people will be eyeballing your brand. Place it here, place it on the chest, place it on the back, place it on the arm. They've also got all kinds of ad deals for their workout stuff as well. You can even, when you purchase a jersey, my Austin FC jersey's got the different patches on it of all the sponsors and everything. So, that's where they make a lot of their money. I don't know where the NHL is financially, but nobody's ever been one to say no to more money. Now it'll be interesting. I think the NBA, when it was huge when they decided that, okay, we're going to allow more advertisements and we're going to allow them to be on the jersey, that a lot of people were going to be upset. They were like, we don't want the NBA looking like NASCAR.
Yeah.
Put that all over the place. I think it's very tasteful. It's small. You almost don't notice it. You certainly don't notice it when you're watching the game. It's not till those up close shots when you start to realize, oh, they've got ads there. NHL, there's obviously the jerseys are bigger. They're wearing those shoulder pads. There's a lot more room to work with as far as where you put ads. So it'll be interesting to see if NHL fans have any sort of pushback or if they're okay with it. If they're finding ways to make money that don't include raising your ticket prices, I'd be okay with it personally. But it'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting too to see what kind of ads they start getting.
Now, you did bring up the NFL. Obviously, nobody makes more money than the NFL. They don't need to do this, but if they ever chose to, there'd be a lot of money to be made. And like you said, nobody likes to say no to money. How would you feel if the NFL went down this route and started putting and we saw like Hard Knocks last night, practice jerseys. You do see it for a long time.
Yeah.
The Cowboys have had AT&T. I think they had somebody else yesterday on their practice jerseys, or last night when I watched Hard Knocks. But, the practice jerseys may be the first step for the NFL. How would you feel if they did this for regular season and playoff game jerseys?
That one's a little more difficult to swallow. We talk about the iconic jersey that is the Cowboys jersey, and you would never change it. So why dirty it up with an advertisement? I think there's more that they could do before all that, like just with TV alone and all the graphics you can do. Right. I mean, what was it? Was it last year when they first started doing the 10 yards they needed to make? They just, instead of just having the line, they would cover it completely in like green or yellow in the red zone. And you were like, well, that's a little much to the eye, but creating a sponsor for that, or putting a virtual logo on the field for what, Yeah. I think, and even now, during some breaks, and I don't know if it's just the NFL or some other leagues as well, but when you're watching on TV, they will minimize the game action, right, in case they come back from that timeout earlier or whatever, and they'll have it smaller and split on the left side of the screen, and on the right side of the screen you get the audio and the picture of whatever advertisement it is. So I think the NFL has done a good job in doing things like that before they say, all right, now we're just going to start tattooing all the jerseys with every sponsor that's willing to put $1 into our pockets.
Yeah. I do like, by the way, when you go to commercial, but you still leave me a little bit of a box on the screen of what's happening on the field or on the sideline. It's cool because I still get to see what's happening. All right. Some other stories that I wanted to make sure we got to. A Brett Favre story involving CTE, and I think we've got some audio as well. Shannon, walk us into this one.
Yeah, it dropped yesterday. Brett Favre kind of made it's definitely one that'll try and pull at your heartstrings. I mean, he's being an advocate for kids not starting tackle football, I believe, until 14, and talking about the effects that CTE has on someone later in life and later in their career, and that it all starts when that kid takes that very first hit. So it matters when you decide to have your kid suit up for the first time.
Mom, Dad, let's talk about tackle football. I just learned about CTE, the brain disease caused by repeated hits to the head. And then there's I play, the more I'm at risk. If you put me in tackle today,
by the time I'm a senior in high school, I'll have played 13 years of tackle football. I could already have CTE, and it will continue to destroy my brain even after I stop playing. So by the time I'm your age,
I can be fighting depression, struggling to keep my thoughts straight. I can become violent, even towards my own children. When I'm your age, what will matter to me is not my youth football career, but that, like you, I'm a great parent and I can provide for my family.
so please, keep me out of tackle football until I'm 14.
Emotional.
Powerful and emotional. And one of the big things there is I've heard some doctors say, Shannon, the younger a child is, the brain hasn't developed, and the skull of a younger child is not as thick to protect the brain from a hit. So a big head injury or a head collision that an 8-year-old gets, or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old gets, it does more, theoretically, more significant damage to the brain than an 18-year-old or a 24-year-old would have in a similar collision.
Yeah, and again, I'm female, never played football, never been in the position to decide whether or not, but it's certainly something that parents should consider. I mean, we see these kids, and we just finished the Olympics, and so many stories of like, I started this when I was 2 years old. It's the first time I got in the pool, and some of those stories are really great, and then others are just kind of sad because it's all the kid knows, and what kind of effects, they what happens when they're done. And when it comes to football and CTE, I think it's very much a real conversation that needs to be had, because, football is only so much of your life. And you want to make sure you have a decent quality of life after football. And if, protecting that means, play flag football, play whatever until you're 14, or whenever it's safer, or creating, continuing to work on helmets to help protect the brain as much as possible, and it was also interesting to see Brett Favre kind of get in on this. Obviously he was in that spot. I think he was also appeared on CNN last night and was talking about the vaccine. I'm not sure how that went over. Brett Favre, he won't go away.
No, but and again, I always believe use your powers for good. And in this case, Brett Favre stood up, and my goodness, that's a powerful and, as you say, emotional spot. And it is something, at least parents need to be armed with more information about what the effects could be on their kids when they're making that decision on what age they're going to have their child play tackle football. So speaking of tackle football, Shannon, we started the show, and we should, talking Hard Knocks, because A, it's football, B, it's Dallas Cowboys, C, it's pretty darn entertaining. How would you compare it to the first? I know episode 1, we were so excited because we were jonesing for football, and it was a really, really good episode 1. Did episode 2 of Hard Knocks live up to your expectations?
Well, first I have some beef with HBO Max, because that's where I watch it, right? So I have to pull up the app and then press play, and that takes some time. But when I pulled up my HBO Max, because there was a new episode, that was what was on my front page, press play in episode 2, and here we go. And I pressed play, and it starts with Dak Prescott talking about his brother and talking about his injury. I'm like, okay, we're doing the recap here.
Yeah.
And then it continues to, and then, I'm getting ready for the day, and, kind of moving around the house, so I'm not next to the remote. And then I start hearing CeeDee Lamb talk about his man bits. And I'm like, I feel like he already said that. Like, are they messing with him again? And so I go over and I pause it, and it says Hard Knocks season, whatever, episode 2. I'm like, okay, well, this is episode 2. This is the week episode 2 airs. This must be it. And then it continues to be the same thing. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. So I realized I'd been rewatching episode 1. Somehow on HBO Max, it got labeled episode 2 when you pressed from the home screen. So I had to go in and find it. So I didn't finish the last 10, 15 minutes or so. But overall, I thought it was much more in line with what we're used to in Hard Knocks, is in getting, to know players a little bit more on a personal level, and players that, don't come up throughout the regular season. They're not the ones making the big plays. the coaches we talked about, Dudre, right, from London. I thought he's great. I love that he's part of that defense. I hope that defense proves that he's a great coach, as he was brought over with Dan Quinn. But I enjoyed it overall. I mean, Hard Knocks is such a great show, and in general, HBO always does a fantastic job with those documentaries, and it's this little teaser I need as we get closer to the regular season.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And there was a cool little moment, not a big storyline at all, just cool to see. DeMarcus Lawrence took his wife and his kids to the beach. So you see him we know DeMarcus Lawrence as a beast and a monster, defensively, and a superstar for the Cowboys. To see a guy with his wife and his kids at the beach, a tender family moment, was just really nice.
Yeah, and they showed some clips of him getting guys hype in the huddle. He was almost rapping in one of them. He was just so his flow, his pregame flow is incredible. And obviously a guy, they during that time at the beach, they're talking about how he's, kind of been sitting out on the sideline because he's, rehabbing. And so hopefully he'll look to make a really good impact for the Cowboys this season.
So if you're a Cowboys fan, or if you're not, because like I've said, even when it's not the Cowboys on Hard Knocks, when it was the Raiders, when it was the Bengals, whoever, Hard Knocks just does a great job on, just putting that product out at a time when we are starving for football.
And I really wish almost that they were with the 49ers this year, because I would have loved to see Chosen Rosen get cut. He's now looking for his 5th team.
And I think this may be it. I think,
3 years, he was drafted in 2018. And then after he was drafted to the Cardinals, he said there were, I think 9, I think he was number 10. There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will live my career to prove that. And now look at him. Look at him. He's talk about a journeyman. He's on to a record. Forget trotting Tim Tebow out to do whatever sports. He can send Josh Rosen to every team within 10 years of his career.
Well, and let me ask you, would you rather have Ben DiNucci as a backup for the Cowboys, or take a shot at Josh Rosen, who was the number 10 overall pick?
Oh, Chris, don't put me in this position. I didn't get why he was that, other than he had the nickname Chosen Rosen and he was from California. He wasn't that impressive his senior year.
No.
Not to me anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
And I don't need that attitude. Yeah. He came into the league with that attitude, and he's done nothing. And I think he still probably carries himself with that attitude. I just haven't found the right fit yet. I haven't had an organization that supports me. Whatever. It's not my fault that my head coach got fired and Cliff Kingsbury came in and drafted his friend Kyler Murray to be whatever, dude. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Hopefully he will be humbled a little bit, and that'll benefit him. Speaking of cut players yesterday, not only Josh Rosen, the chosen one, but Tim Tebow was cut, and Shannon, he was the subject of our poll question this morning.
Yeah. So now that Tim Tebow, he's done with baseball, he's seemingly done with football, we're asking, what sport will Tim Tebow try next? Surprisingly to me, basketball only has 5%. I feel like that's an easy thing he could do, kind of like Tony Romo did, sign a one-day contract with his favorite team and just trot out there wearing the uniform and sit on the bench and not have to do anything. Gymnastics, 33%. I think people just want to see him in a leotard, and that's totally acceptable. 33% say soccer. It is a world sport. Why? I don't know how much of a world figure he is. He's obviously huge over here in the States, but that would be interesting to see him maybe go play with a team overseas. And then you tell us someone said wrestling. That's not bad.
He could be a wrestler.
I don't know if he's a full WWE, but I could see him make an appearance or two.
He could be a wrestler. Absolutely. Shannon, everything was tremendous this morning, including the poll question was yours. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, sir. Look forward to tomorrow.
Yes. Dave Ayler, sir, you rock this world. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And our thanks to Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs. We will do this again in 21 hours on a Thursday, on a Throwback Thursday. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We'll see you in 21. Adios, amigos.